Well, good day, my dear friends, my dear colleagues. It's me, Vera Konstantinova, and today is Saturday, the 3rd of September 2022. And today we would like to talk about the humanitarian situation in Pakistan. And before I would introduce you my colleague, I would like to express gratitude that you're watching us right now and motivate you to subscribe to this channel and to comment, to share us, to promote us on your social media. And of course, it could be very great motivation to make more content for this channel on issues of mutual interest. Well, today I have a great speaker. I have a great friend, Shah Muhammad from Pakistan, a young leader from Pakistan, a researcher from the Truth Initiative, and of course, a person who knows everything about Pakistan current situation. And I'm very glad to have such a brilliant friend, a true leader. And today we would like to talk about the current situation on ground in Pakistan due to the tragic events during the last weeks in the country. And of course, to discuss issues of international aid, issues of damage, and of course, try to understand how we can help people in Pakistan to overcome the circumstances of floods. According to the latest data, during these days, we have lost more than 1,000 people. They lost their lives due to the floods in Pakistan. And according to the latest data I have seen recently in the morning, at least 3 million people affected by floods, and at least more than 1 million households damaged. Thus, it's a great humanitarian catastrophe right now in Pakistan. And of course, it's important that here in Ukraine, we are following the news and we are ready to react immediately to help other nations and to help to be active in global response to such challenges. Well, I'm glad to hear Muhammad here, and I'm glad to pass the floor to him. Well, Shah, good evening or good day. Salam alaikum, and I'm glad to have you here. I hope the connection is great. Hello.
Yeah, so much. Thank you for having me.
Super. Well, Shah, I have checked today's morning news, and I have already noticed that at least more than 1,200 people had already confirmed due to the tragedy in Pakistan already dead, and my sincere condolences. We have heard about the significant damage and casualties in Pakistan caused by floods. Please, accept sincere condolences from me. And of course, despite the war is going on in Ukraine, and we are following the news, so could you please give us the updates on the situation on ground?
Thank you, Vera. There was some issue with the connection.
It's okay. It's okay. Yes, continue, please. Could you please give us an update on situation?
Thank you so much, Vera. First of all, I would just like to say that our thoughts and prayers are with the people of Ukraine. They have suffered a lot due to this war, and we really wish and pray that peace and normalcy returns to the people of Ukraine. As far as the situation in Pakistan is concerned, I think what is happening today has been in the making for many years. Both the government and public had ample time to prepare for this natural disaster. In 2010, we had floods all across the country, and I think that should have been a wake-up call for the government. But I don't think that preparations were made for the future. Now, as far as the ongoing situation, actually things started getting worse in June when the regular monsoon spell started in the country. The rains continued. The irregular torrential rains continued till the end of August, and they left a long trail of damaged houses, destroyed infrastructure, damaged crops, and a lot of people lost their lives. Especially in Sindh and Balochistan province, they received 500% more rain than the annual average. And, that was followed by a long series of flash floods that caused further damage to the infrastructure, agriculture, and human life. The government has recently conducted a preliminary assessment of the situation on the ground. Now, as per the official figures, Pakistan has incurred losses of more than $10 billion due to the ongoing situation. As you already stated, that more than 1,000 people have been, have lost their lives, and more than 10 million people have been displaced. They are literally living under an open sky. Due to the situation on the ground and due to what happened, the GDP growth projections for the ongoing fiscal years have declined to 3% from the early estimates of 5%. And a total of 118 districts have been affected due to this calamity. If you compare the ongoing situation with what happened in 2010, a total of 78 districts were affected, but this time around 118 districts have been affected. So that is more than 70% of the total districts in Pakistan. So the situation right now is quite unprecedented and critical at the moment.
Well, it's difficult to talk about these moments, but you have already mentioned that some steps and measures had already been taken. You have mentioned that Pakistani government also had taken some measures in this regards. Could you say that it's relevant and enough to those who are suffering these tragic events in Pakistan?
I think the scale and the destruction caused by floods and rains have not been measured up till now, because we are still facing this issue. The government has conducted a preliminary study of the ongoing situation, but the scale of the destruction has not been measured fully. I think the international aid is coming in, and so many international organizations and countries are contributing to the cause, but I think it's not enough. Much more needs to be done, and much more needs to be focused on. The things that are important right now are relief activities that are being undertaken by both government, NGO community, and different sectors of the society. Now those relief activities would be followed by rehabilitation, and then reconstruction of the affected regions. So as far as a comprehensive assessment of the situation on ground is not conducted, we cannot measure the amount of funds that need to be allocated for rehabilitation and reconstruction of the affected regions. And I think that's where the international community, needs to come in. They need to I think they can offer technical and financial assistance to the government of Pakistan regarding rehabilitation and reconstruction of the affected regions. And one thing that I would like to mention here, Veera, is that one thing that I have observed in these times of adversity is that Pakistani nation is like Ukraine. Pakistani nation is one of the most resilient and generous nations in the world, because the people are coming out. They are indeed coming out. They are offering their resources, their places, and their houses to the victims. And I think that's a good sign. That is what we call the spirit of humanity in these challenging times. And I think that's what the international community needs to showcase, and they need to offer their help in whatever way they can.
Well, in this context, of course, you have. I don't remember. I guess it was your message to our future leaders community that groups, villages are destroyed and people are displaced. Thus, in the context of the food insecurity, in the context of situation dynamic of this situation? Are there any estimations on damage caused, I mean, in the context of food insecurity dimension? Because I have heard that due to the 1/3 of territory of Pakistan is already under the water, it's difficult to produce crops for food issues for Pakistani nations. Do you have any updates in this regards?
Yeah, one thing that I can, state and say for sure is that Pakistan has been pushed back by many years when it comes to sustainable development goals.
Mhm.
And the timing of these floods could not have been much worse because we were already going through economic challenges and we were already facing the issue of food security. As per the official figures that were released last year, more than 36% households in Pakistan are food insecure. They were food insecure last year. That does not involve the situation that is happening right now. So we were already in talks with IMF regarding a loan package for our external account stability. So we were going through an economic challenge plus a socio-economic crisis and food security issue. And now the damage and destruction that has been caused by the floods and rains is of course going to hit the economy heavily, and that is going to create further issues for food security. For example, let me give an example that Sindh, the province of Sindh, is a highly agricultural province,
Mhm.
and as per official figures, uh, around 90% of the crops in Sindh province has been damaged due to the floods and rains. So you can imagine the scale and the scope of the damage that has happened. Now, what would happen is that this would be followed by an attempt by the government to import more food products
Mhm.
from other countries. That would drain our foreign exchange reserves and that would widen our current account deficit. So, we would again get caught in that cycle of economic crisis and dependency. And I think the situation is going to get much worse in the coming times when it comes to food security, inflation, and unemployment in the country.
Well, we have identified several key challenges, I guess, and you have mentioned that several countries assist and provide international and bilateral aid. Maybe could you name these countries? And I guess it's important to understand that the Pakistani people, they are not alone. And of course, international community, I absolutely agree about everything you have already said, that international community should jump in and be more active than just provide some basic needs. Of course, we talk about the financial assistance. Of course, we talk about the assistance in the context of reconstruction. Well, what are these countries that have already helped Pakistan to mitigate the impact of this tragic national situation?
Yes, to name a few, for example, China, Turkey have offered their help. They have sent in their food supplies and tents for shelter, and the European Union has also offered to help in this regard. And not, but I believe that the help that is coming in is not enough because in 2010 the help that we received in 2010, that was more than enough, and that was enough to cover both relief and rehabilitation of the affected regions. But the geopolitical context has changed. In that time, our relations with the United States were, they were good, and we were on good terms. But in these, times, we are not that much in good relations with United States. So that might be the reason why some countries are hesitant and reluctant to offer help to Pakistan. But still, help is coming in from regional countries, Western countries as well, European Union, World Bank. They are offering a lot of help, but I think the amount that is coming in is quite meager. It cannot even cover the basic relief that is required, let alone the rehabilitation.
Well, thank you so much for these details, and I guess we can proceed forward. And my last, but I guess not least, the question to you is what is the main message you can provide to Ukrainians, other nations, global communities in the context of Pakistan suffering from the impact of climate change? As a young leader, I know that you are focusing on human rights, but in this regard, I guess that's the main challenge for global community despite wars. For example, in the Ukrainian context, of course, war launched by Russia produced climate change impact also, and it's difficult to fight for climate change resilience when you have floods, when you have wars, when you have different negative situation on ground. And that's why my question is, what is the main message for global community, for Ukrainians? What maybe you can share your ideas how people can help right now, staying in their countries. We are not talking about the global dimension. I would like to focus on people-to-people context, please.
Yeah, as far as the people of Ukraine are concerned, despite all their challenges and despite what they are going through, they have stood by the people of Pakistan and they have expressed their solidarity with the people of Pakistan, and we really appreciate that. Now, as far as the issue of climate change is concerned, I think it's a global challenge and it requires a global response. But that global response would not be possible if the people in their societies do not hold the policymakers, the decision makers, accountable for what they are doing. They more and more activism needs to happen in across the world regarding climate change, regarding institutional building, equitable distribution of wealth. For example, Pakistan contributes less than 1% of the global carbon emissions, but it is among top 10 countries being affected by climate change. So this is quite unfair, quite unjust for the carbon emissions that are happening in large numbers from developed countries. The developing countries are suffering the most. So I think a coordinated global response is needed so that the cost of all these things could be shared fairly and equitably. And moreover, whenever some issue arises, whether it is human induced or a natural disaster, for example, COVID-19 or climate change disasters, why is it that developing countries suffer the most? They bear all the cost of all these issues. So there is also a need for significant change and reform in the international system itself, and that is not possible if the people do not actively and proactively, participate in their decision making. The civil society needs to play its role by indirect political participation, and young activists need to play their role. They need to hold their decision makers accountable, and this is the only way through which we can see a world which is a better world, a prosperous world, and a world that is characterized by justice and environmental security.
Well, I guess it's very important words you have already said, that justice, human rights, human security, it's important, and we should unite our efforts in order to achieve this resilient and sustainable future. Well, Shah, I would like to express your sincere gratitude that you have found the time for our briefly conversation. I hope that in the nearest future, everything that Pakistani people had survived and experienced during the last weeks, they would restore their belief in a sustainable future. And of course, it's important that international community should pay great attention to everything is going on in other countries, in different regions of this world. And from my side, if we can assist, can help, and promote any ideas of a global response, we would be very glad to help Pakistan in this regard. And that's why in this positive message, I would like to stop and to finish our interview. Please accept my sincere respect that everything that have already been done by Pakistani people and everything that would be done. Hope that this strategy would make all of us more stronger, and we at least realized that it's in our responsibility to ensure our sustainable future. Well, thank you so much for watching us. I would like to remind all of our subscribers, please comment, share us on your social media, and please be ready for new interviews on this channel. Thank you so much and have a nice day. Thank you.